if P3 is a price ceiling, tell me consumer surplus. If P3 is a price ceiling, give me the letters on your board for consumer surplus. P3. I'm blind, so make those letters big. P3 is a price ceiling. That, yeah, ceiling. So, let them put their answers in. You have. Okay. All right. It's a price ceiling. P3. All right. Put the consumer surplus on your board. It's a price ceiling. Another like 20 seconds. I'm not sure. Just shuffle a couple. Okay. Okay, you're fine.
I really have no idea. I don't know how this comes work. I think you're right, but I'm gonna
All right. Let's see your boards. I got some F's, I got FTH, I got GH. All right. What kind of, I've got, I don't know. We're kind of all over the place. All right. Sam, at P3, is that a binding price ceiling? Why? Price ceiling, upside down house, where should it be? So it's non-binding. So therefore, consumer surplus is above the price, below demand, F, G, and H. Okay? The first question, anytime you have price controls, you got to ask yourself, is it binding or is it not binding? Now, if P3 is a price floor, it's binding. Consumer surplus above the price, below demand, F. If P3 is a price ceiling, it's not binding. It's like I can wipe that out. So then the equilibrium is P2, it's above the price, below demand, F, G, and H.
If it was P1, would it just be the opposite? It would be KIJ.
All right, if P1 is a binding price ceiling, it's above the price, I, G, and F. Because the H and J are dead weight loss. Right? Because if it's a price ceiling, you would take this line all the way up. Okay? Any questions? Yes, sir.
Could you explain binding?
Yeah. All right. Binding means that by the legal law, it's going to be put in place. So here, so say like P1 is a price floor. It's not binding because the price floor is the legal minimum you could pay. But if they're paying P2 already, P1 doesn't help, right? Because the market, so the legal minimum is P1, everyone's paying P2. So that's what it's going to be. Now, if I make P3 the floor, now it's binding because now the legal minimum forces people to pay people more than they used to. Yes, sir.
For the drill question,
Yes.
since it doesn't ask about a floor or ceiling, the total surplus is just the entire area of the,
FGHIJK.
yeah,
Yes.
so we don't have to look at like any like vertical lines at all.
No, those are there probably to do what I just did, asking second and third questions. Yes.
Can you explain dead weight loss again?
Yeah. All right. So, if we look, let's make P3 a binding price floor. Okay. Now, when you went up from P2 to P3, these consumers on the line who say we're willing to pay a price in between those two, they no longer are buying the product because it's too expensive. So they have left the market. So dead weight loss is like either consumers or producers who have left the market. So your market is no longer efficient because you push people out in changing your price. Okay, thank you for asking. Any other questions? I made a pitch to Mr. Stembler today. I said I'm 15% better, at least 15% better teacher if I'm dressed down. He just ignored me. Probably the right thing to do most. Keep your boards out. We're gonna have a couple more. All right, Monday, Tuesday. Today's Wednesday. You should be finished, kind of closing in on chapter 6. I was at the ARC all day yesterday. There's a lot of guys asking me questions about chapter 6, and that's good. Like, and I'll talk about this in a second. But your notes will be due Friday. All right. Here was the quiz results. So, like class 1 average 14.3, 15.50. This year, okay. Last year, 15.2. All right. This makes me nervous. I'll tell you why, because last year they got crushed on the supply and demand unit test, and they did better than us on the supply and demand quiz. So we got to get better. Now, the test is like 8 or 9 school days away, so we have time to get better. So there's a couple of things. One, on your quiz and your redo, if you didn't do what you want, you should meet with me. Now, every person almost who did a redo, what do I ask before you do it? Do I ask, do you have any questions? Everyone says no. But you got to have some questions, all right? You look, using me as a resource is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It's using your resources efficiently. Okay, I thought I did a really lousy job teaching last year, so I spent the summer with the 5 or 6 best teachers I know. All right, so they could give me advice on how to be better. You know, like you could, yeah, I don't know, you could say that's a weakness. Second thing, when we do multiple choice, I want to do them like tests. Because here's what happens. If everyone's talking to Teddy and he gives everyone the right answer around him, and that, because you know, the answers are very common in sections, like even when then everyone gets it right, say, so what do I think as a teacher? Yeah, we're all good. Now, here's what I don't think the people who are doing bad on quizzes don't know the content. I think the questions are sometimes different than you're used to. All right. But if you're not showing me the confusion, then I don't know to talk to you about the highlighted things in the question that would give it away or that would help you understand it. So as we go through questions in the future, try to do it alone. And then like maybe you could have a minute, if you don't understand it, either ask me or ask your partner. Okay. All right. Any questions on that, the quiz results and that? And look, I think econ's like a separate language. Like it's totally different than any like probably class you could. Like being good in US history has nothing to do with econ, you know. So if you're struggling, just keep on the treadmill. I'm going to tell you, when I first taught it, my first year, it took me 2 hours a night to get through it. Like to figure out the problems. I sometimes knew the answers. I couldn't freaking figure out why the answers were. And truthfully, I would go to, I mean, the kid's name is Brett Turlington. I would just call on him and say, Brett, explain it. And I had him first period and then I understood it. But man, he was smarter than me, which most of you are. I would say, if I'm looking, 95% of your IQs are better than me. That's probably not saying much because all right, let's do 18. In a competitive equilibrium, consumer surplus is the area of, give me a minute. second. All right, what we got here? I've got dogwood, I've got broccoli, I got a lot of broccolis, All right, what's the equilibrium here, Matthew?
What's competitive?
This means a regular like supply and demand. And the equilibrium is. Yeah, CY, right?
Yeah.
So the rule is above the price, below demand, right? So Y doesn't matter. Okay? Okay, all right, we're all good? All right, if a price floor is set at X. Oh my God, there it is. All right, the quantity demanded will be, go. Okay, yeah. This big upside down house. Yeah. That's all. Okay. I'll give you another 25 seconds. Okay, let's see what we got. I got Caroline's, Might have got a little too fast on the buzzer here. All right, Caroline, seems like we're good. All right, the equilibrium was OR, now an X. First thing, front, price floor, it's above the equilibrium, it's binding. I'm gonna sell OR, okay? Now, even though I'm supplying OT, only OR is gonna be sold. Yes, sir.
If the price floor wasn't fine in there, so like.
Stay the same. Because say this is a price ceiling, right?
Yeah.
Then you're gonna go, what, if it's not binding, you could in your mind just erase the line. And then you're back to the equilibrium, okay? Any other questions? Good questions. Yes,
So if there was a made up letter, and the price floor was set at like where T intersects.
let me find it. So there's a price floor down here.
Yeah,
Is it binding?
yeah,
No, it's below the equilibrium. Price floor has to be above the equilibrium, okay?
okay.
Yes,
How do you know when it's binding and when it's not?
if it's a floor, it has to be above the equilibrium. So this is above Y, right? If it's a ceiling, it has to be below. That's why I say upside down house. The upside down is the floor is on the top of the equilibrium, the ceiling's on the bottom of the equilibrium.
If it's binding, it's a floor.
No. If it's binding and it's a floor, it's above the equilibrium. A ceiling could be binding, but it has to be below the equilibrium,
Okay,
okay?
got it.
Okay. All right, here we go. If a price ceiling is set at P1, which of the following areas represents consumer, producer, and deadweight law? Oh, geez. A lot to think about, Trev. I don't even have my edibles kicking in. Got everyone confused. Okay, what do we got? All right, we've got some dogs in the house. All right, Christian, first thing I want to ask you, is at P1, is this price ceiling binding? Okay, it's below the equilibrium. All right, then the rule. So the first thing, like I say, is you take this line across, you go up and down, and then when I hit supply, I would do the same thing. They didn't do it for you on the question, but that's what I would do. All right, so above the price, below demand, I, G, and F. Okay, so F, G, and I, we got there. Producer surplus below the price above supply, K, and then your dead weight loss, H and J. Any questions there? Okay. All right. Following a prolonged power outage, the price of flashlights normally increases significantly. If cities had passed laws prohibiting price increases for flashlights during power outages, such laws would most likely Just a second, you're rethinking, I see it. Ian, without looking at the letters, if I can't raise my prices, is that more like a ceiling or a floor? Which prevents prices from going up?
Or a ceiling.
A ceiling.
Yeah.
Now think, so I'm gonna just draw a ceiling without really. So if I put a ceiling in, what is that gonna create, a surplus or a shortage?
A shortage, right?
Okay, do we have an answer?
Yeah.
So then it's gonna be a shortage, okay? That, I knew you were thinking it, so that's how you could think that out, okay? Any questions, so it's B as in broccoli, I think, I hope. Okay, any questions on that one? Yes, sir.
So any question that has like a ceiling would be a shortage. And
If it's binding,
it's binding, and
yeah. Okay? All right. And these are these are the wordy type problems that sometimes bother people. John, do you have questions?
Yes, what would be the case if it's not binding?
Well, then you could have raised prices, so everything would have been okay. Zero.
You never know.
You're good? Okay,
So a real life example of like price floor in this case would be like, they had to sell flashlights at a certain price, like previously would have to sell it at like $5 or something like that.
yeah, then if you put in a a binding price floor, you would have had a surplus, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. The last thing too about coming and asking me for help. The US history teachers last year, Ms. Maybe the nicest human in the world. Flannery, maybe pi per second of passage. they're all nice people, I'm not. So when you come and you start to see your grade is bad and you ask for extra credit, there is none. The only way to get your grade up in this class is to master the material. Okay, so I am willing to work at endless hours to help you master the material. But the only easy grade you have is the homework. The homework's a pretty easy grade. You know, I let you talk to each other, but everything else is mastering the material. So that's why I want to encourage you to come to help, because and if Teddy's better help than me, go to Teddy. Ted's pretty good. I saw him tutoring people up in, was that physics, yes, sir?
Yeah.
Tutoring is crazy.
You were tutoring him. I know. We're just like, we make Teddy feel good, you know. All right, here we go. Did I put this on yours? All right, let's see how we could do. This is a typical FRQ you could find on your unit 8 test. Give you a couple of minutes. People said they wanted a little more practice on price floors and ceilings. You talk, I listen. In your packet, right?
Yeah,
Is it easier to see up here though?
yeah.
Okay. How is this? Need your calculator, take your calculator out. Come on. And by the way, use your notes. Like when I say take it like a test, I mean, don't talk to each other. Use your notes. No, this is producing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I give people a couple more minutes. Anybody else? Yes. Area of time. Area of time. Okay. All right. All right. Christian, first thing, calculate total producer surplus at market equilibrium. So. Did you get that? Huh? Okay, so what's the rule graphically of producer surplus? You remember? Do you remember, Christian?
Go off the top.
Producer below the price above supply. Okay? Below the price. So we've got this triangle. So it's half base times height. What is the height here? You said it. No. 20, right? You said 20. What is the base? 20, right? Divided by 2, so you got 400, divided by 2 is 200. Okay, we good there? Yes, sir.
Under 30 units.
This, no, this 200. Okay, all right, but while you're here, if the government imposes a price floor at $16, 10, 12, 14, 16. Shortage, surplus or neither.
I said unit.
And well, how would you explain that?
I said-
You're right.
I said because it's non-binding, because the price floor needs to be above the utility.
Okay. So it's neither, it's a non-binding price floor. Okay. Now, the third thing, if instead the government imposes a price ceiling at 12, John, at 12, is this price ceiling binding?
Yeah,
Yes, it's below the equilibrium, so it's binding. All right, now at 12, John, is it going to cause a shortage or a surplus?
a shortage.
A shortage, right? And you could explain that quantity demanded is greater than quantity supplied. Are we good on those three? Yes, sir.
For my explanation, I just said that the ceiling is below the equilibrium and like anytime it is.
I would, Jacob, whenever they give you numbers, I'd refer to numbers. Okay? I think, and I'm gonna show the answer, the literal answer, Kate. I think they would have accepted quantity demanded greater than quantity supplied, but I would use the numbers. All right, now, we've got the last one. If instead they restrict the market output to 10 units. Okay, so now what they're saying is the most you could produce is 10 units. I can't even get this on my thing. Whoop, sorry. All right, it's all the way up there. All right, it's 10 units. All right, calculate the dead weight loss. All right, this triangle here is going to be your dead weight loss. All right. Now, because the picture doesn't go up there, but with the height be 40 minus, yes,
Oh, yeah, no.
you sure?
Yeah.
Would the height be 40 minus 10? Is that true?
Yeah.
Because it's not up here.
Yeah,
All right, so the height is 30. The base, right, I'm taking it from 10 and I'm going to this point here, which is 20. So 20 minus 10 is 10 over 2 is going to be 150. All right. Let me just repeat myself and then I'll answer your question. So I took the line up to 10 units, right? That gave me my dead weight loss triangle over here. I took this, the bottom of the triangle to the top, the height was 30. I then took here to the point to get the base is 10 divided by 2 is 150. Ronan and
Did you also do where you like split it up? 'Cause I
Yes,
still have-
the 2 triangles?
Yeah.
Yes. You got 150 though, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And you'll see in the answer key, they have an answer for that. Any other questions on this? Okay. I'm gonna just show you the kind of released AP. You got 1 point for calculating the surplus. You got 1 point for stating that a price floor is ineffective and will not create a surplus or shortage because it's set below the equilibrium price. So you could have done that. I would have preferred, but you could have just said that, or because it's not binding. 1 point is there for stating that a price ceiling at $12 will create a shortage because quantity demand is greater than quantity supply, or because the price ceiling is binding. All right. Number 4 is the math. There's the way I did it. There's the way you did it, right, Roman?
Yeah.
You did the 2. They took either one. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Any questions on ceilings and floors? Yes.
Can you just not be part of the FRP,
What do you mean?
those 6 points? That was.
Oh, yeah, because the other 2 points we haven't done. Yeah. Any other questions? And by the way, these FRQs are not made for you to get 100. They're not really, but. All right. Quick review with the person next to you. If you could go over these terms with each other, go, give you a minute or 2.
That's a lot. You did the last. That's. Inferior, right? It'd be like. That's a.
And now that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the man went up.
Unless that's what it's for.
You're good. This goes down.
The main cord is that.
All right, anything up here you or your partner would like clarification on with? Feel. Okay, so the formula is, what's always on top for every formula? Quantity demanded, if it's about income, what do you think's on the bottom? Alright, so percentage change of income. It can only do 2 things. It can only tell you if the good is normal, which would be positive coefficient, or inferior, which would be negative. Now, on one of the redos, there's a question about inferior, which I'd say 50% got it wrong. If income is down and it's an inferior good, what's going to happen to demand? It's going to go up. It's going to shift right. All right? Is that what you needed? Okay, anything else? Yes, sir.
Total revenue test.
That's it. If I'm testing it for goods inelastic. Price up, total revenue up, tells me it's inelastic. Remember, total revenue price times quantity. Price up, total revenue down, elastic. So if you go in the same direction, inelastic, if you go opposite, elastic.
Right, oh, yeah, the third one, price, good X, quantity is good one.
If the price of good X rises in the quantity, all right, so let's see, is it a substitute? All right, guys, just give me a minute. If the price of good X, if the price of Coke rises, are people gonna buy more or less Coke?
Running, if the price of good, running.
Yeah. All right, therefore the demand of Pepsi would increase, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's not what happens here, so it's not a substitute, right? So let's look for a complement. If the price of hot dogs rise, are you gonna buy more or less hot dogs? So therefore, the demand of buns decreases, complement, okay? All right, if you fill out your slip, put it in the box. I hope it helped that we went over the price control, cemented that in your mind. If not, let me know on those white slips. Otherwise, have a great day.